All right, good afternoon and good morning to those of you on the West Coast. Welcome to our first 2025 R2 release showcase. This is the first session of two that we have where we showcase the top features from the amazing talent that we have here at the Groove. A few logistics. All attendees will be on mute. Please use the Q&A feature to ask any questions. We will post the recording on our website and there will be a post-webinar survey. Also, please take note, we do have a second session next week covering adaptive financials, time tracking, and more. And we also have our AI Readiness for You Part 2 series. So we've got some QR links down here if you want to register for those. Lastly, I think a fun little thing we're introducing on this session is we will have a a random Groovy swag giveaway for any attendee who contacts our team to really learn more about how the Groove is different from full-scale AMS to our data and analytics offerings. So with that, we've got some phenomenal team members who are eager to share what they are most excited for this webinar, covering reporting, HCM, talent, technical integrations, and Extend. And with this, I will turn it over to Kyla.
Thanks, Mike. Hi everyone. My name is Kyla Hermelin, and I'm a manager in the technical service practice here at The Groove. And I have a total of 6 years of Workday experience with 5 years in reporting and analytics. I specialize in the HCM reporting space, and I'm really excited to be presenting all of the reporting and analytics Workday 2025 R2 features and updates. Now, reporting has a ton of new updates for this release, but I will be speaking to the top 3 reporting features as well as the best people analytics enhancements. So to start off, we'll be speaking about the Analytics and Reporting Hub, which you might see will be a common theme across this session and our session 2, as Workday has made a lot of updates to their hubs. Now, with this one, Workday is bringing a new workspace that is providing a centralized location for report writers, administrators, and this allows access to those reporting related tasks, reports, and processes. You're also able to add this worklet from the hub straight to your global navigation menu, and this is enabling users to access it directly from their homepage. This Analytics and Reporting Hub is also enabled for worksheets, discovery boards, Prism, and even Office Connect tasks. The individual security permissions of the users will determine what data they can view, which tasks, reports, and cards they can use. Now, what business challenges does this solve for? Well, you'll be able to easily find all of your reporting related tasks, reports, and information in that one single location on the hub. This also improves productivity for report authors and administrators by streamlining that access to those common tools and processes. You can quickly discover new Workday reporting features and best practices to enhance your reports. And you can also simplify the administrative and housekeeping tasks for reporting and analytics. Some deployment considerations to have is you want to ensure that users who need access are in the correct security group that has the view and modify permissions to that new hub domain. And you can use the configured global navigation task to add the hub worklet directly to that global navigation menu. Overall, the level of effort for this to be implemented would be medium. Now, the next feature that has been updated with R2, I'm very excited for, is the trended worker data source. Now, with this update, Workday is expanding your trended worker reporting to now enable you to view data from up to the past 72 months. The minimum number of months you can configure is 12, and now that maximum is 72, which is a change from the original 36 months. Workday is now updating that trended worker data source along with the delivered trended turnover summary report to return data from up to 72 months. Now, this update will impact all reports that use that trended worker data source. There is also a new number of periods field on the maintain trended workers task that you can configure for the number of months that you want to return data for. Some of the business challenges this solves for would be organizations can now report on more historical data to help with workforce planning. This also removes the need to use Prism to expand trended worker data from 36 months up to 72 months. This is a huge use case and a common ask with clients where they want to see data for more than 3 years in the past, typically 5, maybe 7 years. So I'm really excited that Workday is giving us a case where we can use the native report writer functionality to look at historical data for up to 6 years. And with 3 additional years of data, this will help organizations have more meaningful reports, charts, and visualizations. Some deployment considerations is that you want to update the number of periods field on the configuration tab of the maintain trended worker task. Once the number of periods fields is updated on that task, you must also purge and recreate your trended worker data. But if nothing is done, Trended Worker will continue to look at data for up to the last 36 months only, or whatever your number of periods is currently configured as. Field swapping and report updates will be needed for any Trended Worker custom reports that have hard-coded values in the filters. Overall, the level of effort to implement would be high. And for the third update and our last top 3 for reporting, we have the waterfall chart in Report Writer. Workday now is supporting this waterfall chart as a new visualization option within Report Writer, and this enables you to analyze those cumulative effect and sequential additions and subtraction of values. This enhancement includes comprehensive updates to chart configuration, tooltip functionality, and fixes for chart rendering behaviors, so you can quickly tell those positive from negative numbers. Workday is also adding fill patterns for this waterfall chart type, and you will also be able to display drillable fields and detailed data if configured. The chart type limit is up to 100 with a legend denoting start, increase, decrease, and total. Some business challenges that this solves for is you can gain a clear insight into those positive and negative contributions to a final value, which helps facilitate a better understanding with a lot of financial reporting. This enhanced configuration option also has improved tooltip details to provide a more intuitive and powerful reporting experience for data analysis. This additional visualization option to Report Writer also provides business with another alternative rather than having to use discovery boards just to see this waterfall visualization type. This chart type option is automatically available on all Report Writer reports, so any existing custom reports that you may want to use this visualization instead will just need to be updated. Overall, the level of effort to implement is low. And lastly, what I want to speak about would be some enhancements we have to people analytics. So there are new hiring metrics that are being added into the hiring pipeline for people analytics, which I think will really be beneficial to businesses. This hiring reporting will now be based on your configured fiscal schedule if it's different from the default calendar year schedule, which is a great addition. And Workday is now checking hiring data with their data quality module. So you can verify that the data mapped and configured in your hiring pipeline, and this ensures data quality for all metrics and visualizations displayed in that hiring tab. People Analytics is also expanding by adding an additional 11 language translations that will be automatically available. Some business challenges this will solve for is that these additions expand the list of hiring metrics that you can choose from, improving the alignment with your reporting needs. Hiring reporting will now align better with organizations that have a configured fiscal schedule rather than forcing you to use that calendar year. And then data quality validates these important fields found in this version 2 hiring pipeline, ensuring that the data satisfies the usefulness, completeness, and correctness requirements of People Analytics for the business. The deployment considerations for this is that People Analytics will need to be reinstalled to include the fiscal schedule and to add the new hiring metrics. When we reinstall People Analytics, it does wipe out any existing custom reports, dashboards, or discovery boards. So something that you will need to do if interested in reinstalling People Analytics is to back up your work because you will need to rebuild. The hiring pipeline data quality module is also automatically available in the Configure People Analytics task. The overall level of effort to implement is high due to having to recreate some of those custom reports for reinstallation. Hopefully everyone is as excited about these features as I am, but I'm going to pass it over to Brittany so she can speak about HCM. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyla. Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Pham. I'm an HCM consultant here at The Groove, and I've been in the Workday practice for about 3 years now. Like Kyla, I'll be highlighting the top 3 HCM features to come out of this release. To kick things off with the feature I personally am the most excited about, Workday is delivering a brand new hub called the HCM Admin Hub. This hub will house all things related to HCM configuration and setup, allowing administrators to easily locate and switch between these tasks. As you can see here on the left, this hub will be broken out by category, with each product area having its own section. An example of some things that you'll find within this hub include information about the latest HCM feature releases, information on probation and notice periods, career sites, compensation plans, benefit events, time off, as well as time entry, events for benefits, and then forecasting. It's important to note that talent and general setup have not been broken out into categories as of yet, but they are expected to be added prior to this release. This feature will be automatically available, but you can opt out at any time using the Maintain Feature Opt-ins task, so the level of effort to implement this is low. And then moving on to the next feature, Workday is also delivering the Job Architecture Hub. This hub will be your one-stop shop for all things related to job architecture and its analytics. You'll be able to filter through job profiles in this hub, identifying the number of job families, job family groups, and active or inactive job profiles currently in your system. You'll also be able to create, edit, and view job profiles from this hub. However, I do think that the best part of this feature is the delivered analytics. For example, Workday will be enabling skills-based analytics to compare the supply and demand of skills within your organization. This will be done by evaluating skills tied to job profiles in comparison to skills employees already have listed on their worker profiles. With this information, you'll be able to identify what percentage of your skills have been met, where your skills are in excess, or where they're lacking. You can also compare this information to skills within the job market. Workday will be using machine learning and data from select Workday customers to highlight market jobs that match your job profiles. Based on these market jobs, Workday then infers and aggregates skills to aid in adding relevant skills to your job profiles. Aside from these skills, Workday also has a tab on this hub that will help flag or prevent duplicate job profiles from being created. You will also be able to view any data inconsistencies among your job profiles, so you'll be able to see which job profiles are missing things like pay rate type, job description, job summary, and so on. This does take some effort to set up, so I have it set as high. Because this is not automatically available, you'll have to enable a number of domains, but the most important is the Manage Job Architecture Hub domain. You will also have to opt in to these analytics after enabling this domain using the Innovation Services and Data Selection opt-in task. And then security does control which tasks we'll be able to see, so based on which groups you're wanting to see for certain job profile features, you'll have to enable those domains as well. And then moving on to our final feature, of course, we also have another feature that's hub related. Workday is delivering multiple enhancements to the Manager Insights Hub. If this hub is currently not enabled and configured in your tenant, you will not be able to access these features, but you can set this up using the opt-in task that we mentioned earlier. One of the key enhancements is allowing the management of contingent workers and access to the Venly contingent worker page from this hub, which will now enable managers to view all of their employees, whether full-time or contingent, in one location. The Manager Insights Hub will also house a brand new budget and resources overview page, and this page will allow you to view various compensation-related reports related to compensation planning or merit planning. Managers will also be able to access calibration reports and event history directly in this hub, alongside a variety of frequently used time and scheduling tasks like request absence. Workday is additionally delivering 2 new buttons, one to hire employees and one to view matrix organizations. So all of this together will help in consolidating hiring and staffing tasks, allowing managers to easily access any information about their team as needed. A couple of action items here to allow managers to view these enhancements. They'll need initiate access in the Hire BP, view access to calibration data, view access to worker data organizations. But for the other 2 I mentioned with time and scheduling and budget and resources, these will be automatically already in the hub. But if not enabled for certain security, the managers will not be able to use features if not, again, enabled. So the level of effort here is medium. But yeah, overall, some great things going on for HCM this release, and I do encourage you to check out the other features aside from this, but I'll hand it over now to Clara to speak about talent.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Clara Ziegler. I'm a consultant here at The Groove. I specialize in talent, recruiting, and people experience. Spent several years in corporate HR before transitioning to consulting in the Workday ecosystem. And I'm excited to tell you about a few of the enhancements that this release will bring related to talent and talent optimization. So first, we will start with updates around skill assessments. While skill assessments themselves aren't new, many of you are probably already using them to capture structured data from different assessors, including the employee themselves or others. But what this release does is make those assessments more meaningful by improving how they're factored into overall skill ratings, and how that data can be viewed and reported on across the organization. So Workday is adding a new skill assessment rating field to the skill level calculation section. So this means that you can now assign a weighting to assessment data, deciding how heavily it influences a worker's overall skill rating and compare it to things like self-assessments or peer endorsements. So an example would be, maybe if you're in a highly regulated industry like healthcare or aviation, you may want to have an assessor verified data carry significantly more weight than something like an employee self-reported skill assessment. On the other hand, maybe you're in a fast-moving tech environment and you want kind of more of a balance, so you can allow peer endorsements or self-ratings to play a larger role alongside those assessments. So this flexibility really lets you tailor the skill framework to your organization's need and culture. The other major improvement is going to be around visibility. So talent admins, managers, HR partners have clearer reporting into individual worker ratings, including where the assessment data came from. So this transparency helps stakeholders trust the data more, can use it with confidence when you're looking at things like succession planning, learning recommendations, or project staffing. So the value here isn't just about having skill assessments in Workday. It's really about increasing the impact through weighting them appropriately and surfacing them more effectively in decision making. From an implementation perspective, level of effort here, I do have it considered low. You'll need to set up the assessments and configure weighting for the different scores. But once it's live, it really elevates the credibility of your skill framework. Okay. Next, let's look at flex teams for contingent workers. Many organizations today rely on contingent workers, so your contractors, freelancers, consultants. But the challenge is that they often sit outside of our internal collaboration and development opportunities. So that means that they may be underutilized, even though they have great skills and ideas to contribute. So with this update, it's going to allow contingent workers to participate in flex teams, not just as members, but even as team leads or hosts. So let's say, for an example, again, if you're in healthcare maybe, and you have a contingent worker who's contracted for 6 months, normally they just do their core assignment. But with this update, they can join a flex team that might be solving a shorter term problem, like streamlining reporting for a new regulatory requirement. So the organization really benefits from tapping into their skills more fully. And then it also is going to help the contingent worker feel more engaged and connected. This will also expand the talent pool availability for project staffing. So flex team hosts now get access to a wider range of people, both employees and non-employees. So this is going to make team formation more efficient and flexible. From a deployment standpoint, this one does require a little bit more work. You're going to need to make sure that your security policies are updated to allow contingent workers in the opportunity marketplace. And then you're also going to want to consult with your legal teams to ensure compliance with using contingent workers in this way. So the effort here I do have is medium, but the payoff is going to be really great for that flexible workforce. Okay, and then finally, let's talk about our suggested skills alignment. So in the past, employees would see skill suggestions in different places in Workday, anywhere from their worker profile, job applications, and the career hub. But kind of the experience for the user wasn't consistent across these different areas in Workday. So this could be a little bit confusing, made the experience feel a little bit fragmented. So with this new release, this is going to provide a fix by aligning and improving skill suggestions across all these areas. It's also going to introduce AI inferred skill suggestions in the internal application process, which is really powerful for our workers. So an example, if we have an employee who's applying for a finance role, based on their work history, Workday is going to use some of those recommendations and suggested skills like maybe financial modeling or data visualization, and suggest them directly when they're doing their internal application. So this is going to help your employees present a fuller picture of what they bring to the table, even if they didn't explicitly list the skill or think of it themselves. From a usability standpoint, this is going to make applying for jobs internally much smoother. And for the organization, it's going to mean better matching between candidates and opportunities because that skill data is more complete and consistent. The good news for this one, I would rate it as low effort to deploy. It is going to be automatically available if you already have suggested skills enabled in your tenant. If you don't, it's going to be enabled for the first time. There might be a little bit of a processing window. I believe it's about a week background processing delay before the data will start appearing, but overall, pretty low effort. So I would say in summary for these three updates for talent, they're all going to work together really to strengthen the skills within Workday. They're going to give you more reliable data and more flexibility with staffing. So now I will pass it over to Mackenzie.
Thanks, Clara. So, hi everyone, my name is Mackenzie Jackson. I am on the technical services team here. I'm an integration consultant. I am certified in all things integrations and have worked with HCM, procurement, finance, supply chain, all the things. So I'm going to first talk about the Workday Delivered Connector updates. This is the biggest releases we're seeing and added features and some updates and changes. So I'm first going to focus on HCM and payroll and then go more towards the finance and procurement connectors. So for HCM, the biggest connector, which I hope most people are familiar with, is the core connector workers. This integration pulls changes for workers. And so previously, when you ran the core connector worker integration with disenabled, which is data initialization services, the prior value attribute would not populate for the fields in the additional data section. The additional data section is where calc fields are. So if you need custom logic, things like pulling values from different places, that is where it is, and you wouldn't be able to see the prior values if something was rescinded or changed. You wouldn't be able to see what it was changed to, and you'd actually have to turn the disk service off. Workday has fixed that, so now when the disk service is on, you're able to see those prior values if you need to use it for the logic within the connector to send that data over to a vendor. So that's really exciting because I've run into this issue multiple times. I ran into it a month ago helping a colleague. So that's a big change that I'm excited Workday has fixed. Another big thing is Workday has finally delivered a positive pay integration template. If you have a positive pay integration in your tenant right now, I can almost 100% guarantee it is an outbound EIB with a custom report and custom XSLT transformation. But now they've actually created a template and a connector that will be able to do it for you. So very excited about that. Then going over more to the finance and procurement connectors. So there's a bunch of new features for the supplier invoice EDI 810. So you're now able to attach a spend category for freight and other charges. You can include landing costs and taxes for freight and other charges as well. And then you're also now able to use a default supplier connection on the integration attribute. This will allow you to have a remit connection if you want to have a default one on there. So, and for these features, Workday's done a really good job on their release section of explaining exactly how to make these updates and then how to test them. So if you do want to add these to your 810s, then I would suggest going there as well. But those are some very exciting features on there. And then the last one is for the CXML electronic customer invoice template. You're able to now have your company tax ID. It's an attribute which will allow you to add your supplier tax information when you send invoices to your customers. All of these will be automatically available. Most of these would be a level of medium changes. The attribute changes are pretty easy to make. However, you will need to do some regression testing, compare the files to make sure that all the data you are sending is still there. So these are most of our changes for the connectors. I'm now going to go over and talk about some exciting things that we're seeing within new implementations for Workday, and that is orchestrations. So what are we seeing right now? We are seeing that Workday is now suggesting that we use orchestrations instead of outbound EIBs. So where you created a custom report and then had custom XSLT to send out files, we're now seeing that these are being scoped to be orchestrations. We are also seeing it with our AMS clients, so our post-prod support clients. We're seeing that they have these orchestrations already in their tenant that have been created and are supporting them. So we kind of started seeing this and we started asking ourselves, why? Why should you choose orchestrate instead of EIB? So one of the biggest things is it enhances the speed and agility and also gives you better error handling. If you've worked with EIBs before, sometimes if they error out, you're not really able to pinpoint exactly where it is. It gives you very vague details. So with orchestrates, you're able to add better error handling to be able to see if something, to fix your integration easier and to be able to pinpoint it faster. It also allows our system to not use as many resources within Workday. EIBs actually use a large amount of resources, especially with running those custom reports. So it allows the integration to run faster. This is going to be more of a modern low-code integration experience that allows you to kind of future-proof your integrations as Workday is moving toward more towards orchestrate and will continue to in the future. It's going to be better performance and efficiency, and it's going to be able to enhance your development productivity in the future. Now, how are you able to use Orchestrate? First of all, you're going to need a Workday orchestration license. You're going to need that SKU, and then you're going to need a Workday development tenant to be able to create these orchestrations, test them, and then finally be able to move them to production when you're ready. So moving back over to talk a little bit more of orchestrations, I know I talked a lot about the outbound EIBs, which is a big thing we're seeing right now, but we're also seeing that orchestrations are being used to help replace studios for more simple integrations where a studio kind of feels like overkill, but it's the only way we're able to do it. So a big thing that a couple of my colleagues have been saying is that orchestrations can be used for vendors that can only ingest data via API, especially with demographic data. So some vendors are moving away from flat files and receiving files through SFTP, and they're now going to the API route. But there's some cost associated if they need middleware systems to digest that data. So instead of that, orchestrations can actually send that data via API and kind of cut out that middleware to save cost. We're also seeing orchestrations can be used to replace inbound studios, specifically retirement election deferrals, where you receive a file with the elections and then the orchestration is able to load that into Workday, and also for cost center updates from a financial system. So we're really excited about all the orchestrations we can do. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Daniel to talk about Extend.
Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Turborg. I've been in the Workday ecosystem for about 10 years now, all things integrations and Extend. And we're going to talk today about some of the new exciting features coming to Extend. And we'll start off with Workday Extend cards on Workday Home. So have you ever wanted to have, I don't know, some more information on maybe some time off balances? Maybe if you're managing contingent workers and you want to see when some of these contingent worker contracts might be expiring, and you don't want to have to go through a bunch of tasks or anything like that to get to that information. Well, now you can put it onto your homepage through an Extend card. So Workday is introducing the ability to add the Extend cards straight to your homepage. It allows you to display snapshots of information, easy to see, and quite easy to put into the homepage. We're hoping this enhances your user experience to get to that data quickly. And yeah, it'll help you be able to access your Extend applications a little bit easier as well. So this is going to be available in production, all production, as of 2025 R2. Now you do need to have an Extend SKU to be able to access all of this, though. And unfortunately, it won't be ready to play around with until 2025 R2. But yeah. And then I hear you saying, what about our journey customers? So if we can go to the next slide, please. Well, we're also adding Extend cards as a step type in journeys. So if you have a journey that utilizes a Extend application, you can set a card as a step to allow your users to access your Extend application directly from the journey step. So that'll let you get bring in more data from your Extend applications, or even data from some third-party applications, depending on what you want to do. Again, automatically available as of 2025 R2, but again, you must be subscribed to Extend. So yeah. And then we have a couple more features coming into 2025 R2. First being, we're adding some Graph API, some new queries to the Graph API schema. So now you'll be able to check out some supplier and supplier contact with new queries for resource provider and payment type, and a couple of new mutations as well. This again is available automatically in 2025 R2. You don't have to do anything for this. It's just automatically part of the Graph API. And then one thing Workday has heard your cries for the next feature is prompt values for Graph API. So now you'll be able to have a prompt path and a search function as part of your mutations in searching through Graph API. So if you need to find out which queries have the available to use these prompts, you do need to go into the Graph API Explorer and check out the view mutation prompts in the Graph API documentation. But again, it's automatically available for you and ready to go as long as you have Extend and know how to use Graph API. So exciting new stuff for Extend. Back to you, Mike.
All right, thanks, Daniel. I think we've got a number of questions in the chat. So, Chelsea, do you want to go through some of those for our participants and our presenters?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, the first question I think is for Kyla. What report types will have the new waterfall option?
Great question. That will be for matrix reports and trending reports.
Perfect. Thank you. This next question I think is for Mackenzie. What type of training does our team need to be able to support Orchestrate?
Yeah, great question. So for Orchestrate, if you do have access to the Orchestrate SKU now, or you will after Rising, in the development tenant, there's actually some Orchestrate training that takes you through the basics, walks you through the development section where you have access to the developer items, and there's training there, but there's also a Workday training that I would suggest you using just to get familiar with it because it is different than normal Workday integrations in Studio. And then just kind of going through all the walkthrough trainings and creating your own.
Perfect. And then I saw in the chat there was some confusion if Orchestrate will be free after Rising. So Daniel, can you just address that for the group?
Yep. So Orchestrate is planned on becoming GA here very soon. Of course, Safe Harbor, I'm not exactly sure when that is going to happen. It's supposed to be after Rising, but Safe Harbor on that. But it is planned to become GA here pretty soon.
Perfect. Do you need Studio for Orchestrate?
You do not need Studio for Orchestrate.
Thank you. Another question just came in regarding reporting. Where will we find this new reporting dashboard? Does it recognize the report writers and apply it to them all?
Yes, so this new reporting dashboard is what they consider actually a hub. So they're in two different sections of Workday. So this new analytics and reporting hub will be on the maintain hubs page or on the global navigation page if you configure that, and it will be able to recognize report writers and apply it to them.
Perfect. Another question regarding cards. Do these cards add to the limit of apps we can deploy in production?
So that is a good question. Typically, the cards are going to be part of your existing Extend applications through the use of an orchestration. So I will tentatively say no. But if you do build obviously, if you build a new Extend app to contain all of these cards, then yes, that would impact your total number.
Perfect. That looks like those are all the questions for right now. I'll give everyone about 30 seconds to submit any other questions they might have. Other than that, we will be sending out this recording in a follow-up email, and you will see a survey at the end of this. So if you could please take it. It's short, 5 questions only, and this helps us improve in the future, and there's an opportunity for you to submit different topics that you would like us to see us cover. So we really appreciate your feedback. So if there's no other questions, we will wrap it up.
And Chelsea, I'll just make a plug. Session 2, we've got payroll, financials, adaptive, time tracking, and absence for next week too. So thanks everybody for joining this afternoon or this morning. We appreciate everybody's time.